fried.
Oh, so that's what we're going to...
Dealing with this.
I'm
enjoying this, you know. At the same time, Baruch Hashem, work is like...
A lot going on.
Like a lot.
It's always a war to be able to learn Torah, man.
Incredible amount of work going on.
It's a war to make panasa, so everything's a war right now. It's one big war. And it's still not finished, this war in Adar. That's the update.
Yeah.
Keep dedicating. Baruch has been MASHA, Baruch has been YITZCHAK. They're more right now cleaning up the place. We got a call last night. They're cleaning up the place. Like it's a different level right now.
I mean, they're just wiping out evil?
Also getting rid of all the main areas where the terrorists might have been, and just like, so they don't come back kind of thing. Clean up. And so, Baruch Hashem, that's the stage we're at of the war, which is a good thing, which means we've overall been victorious. The problem is there's still this tunnel system, and it's still not everything's for sure, you know? So, you know, the fact that they can still throw missiles every so on means that they still have ways to get out and do what they do. So,
right.
You know, but nevertheless, they're at a good stage, the army, and could be another week or so. And we'll have the opportunity for them to not have to be in Gaza. At least in this way.
Yeah.
And there'll be a new stage. But the point is, we're always at war until Mashiach comes. I did a whole podcast about it. Until Mashiach,
we have tomorrow.
Yeah, we have a war to make plus. We have a war,
north.
Shalom Bayis. We have a war, work on your midas. You see, you're learning about this. You've got a Nefesh Bahamis. You have to be real. You have to cater to it. You can't just ignore it. You can't just pretend deny it. And you can't deny your neshama also. So you need to feed your soul. But you also need to feed your family. It's a combination.
Oh, yeah, Tate in Himmel.
Do you hear what I said though? It's feed your family.
Yeah.
That's the focus when it comes to Nefesh Bahamis. Feed other people, right? It's not think too much about yourself.
Right. Yeah, I hear that.
That's in my opinion.
Feed your...
But the soul for yourself, you need to think about your neshama.
When I think of feeding my family, I think of that's feeding other people also.
That's a high level to start doing all this chasodim and stuff.
Yeah, it's easy.
I'm wearing this top here. We did a podcast yesterday. He said he's fed 20,000 soldiers already. Figured it out. It's a lot of people in 4 months.
20,000 soldiers. Wow.
Yeah. It's a contribution towards the war. And it's not like, you know, cheap food. It's like proper food, you know?
Yeah.
Like good quality barbecue, meat.
They also have a whole... Like pizza, ice cream,
pizza as well, yeah. Baruch Hashem.
Yesterday I was by the tzaddikim up north.
Oh, nice. Went to Rav Cook.
So we didn't end up seeing Rav Cook. We were supposed to.
My son went to see him. So it's very special.
Went to the
second time.
Tzfat. So we went to the Ari's cave.
Nice. Which tzaddikim in Tzfat?
And then the people. We actually went to Rav Avshi Weingrab.
Oh, of course.
So we hung out with him a little bit.
That's nice.
And then went to see the tzaddikim, went to the Ari's shul.
Nice.
Went to the mikvah.
Yeah, it's powerful there, no?
Yes, I love Tzfat.
It's no wonder you're tired, man. You did a whole mission yesterday. I'd love to go there again. I haven't been for ages.
Did that whole thing and then came straight here.
And then you thought you'd have a chill, but then not.
Tonight it was, last night was very nice, and then I got home, it was like 11.
He's in a new place, no? He's borrowing someone else's house.
Who?
Of Shlomo.
Oh, yeah. When we got home, I had to go to work at like 12 o'clock at night.
Oh, wow.
It was an avodah.
Hashem should give you koyach.
Yeah.
And then your friends are off, so you can rest a bit more.
I'll leave it tonight.
It's nice, you're like a shliach for all these guys.
I feel like I am, yes. I'm going to go see them today in the morning.
Or in Tel Aviv.
They're going later on, but today they're by Esha Torah.
Nice.
They're meeting with Berkowitz.
Wow, they really get to maximize, huh?
Yeah. They're going to go see Berkowitz and go. Never met I've heard him speak. I never met him, so it'd be nice.
I was in Aish in 1998, and he was one of the rebbeim there. You know,
right? He
was like one of the main rebbeim. He was like a shiach or something. I remember everyone was talking about him even then. He put out a book on Shmir Saloshan, and he was a star in the 90s already.
Yeah.
Hine Mocha Mishkan Nefesh Bahamish Beklipas Noga B'cho Ish Yisrael Hul Belev. Okay, so we're in Perek 9. That sounds funny. Chapter Tesha.
Yeah.
Mixing it up. Chapter 9. So the idea in the Tanya, the Holy Tanya, is saying that you have the place where the Nefesh Bahamis is hanging out, is derived from Klippas Noba in every Jew, is in his heart. And we're saying it's the left side, B'chalal HaSmuli. That's where he's featured, his main presence. If you're going to figure out in a Yid, in a physical, spiritual anatomy, I don't know if it's so physical, but spiritual anatomy, he's B'chalal HaSmuli. He's in the left side of the heart. Shumale dam, and that's where it's filled with blood. Ksiv kidam hu nefesh. That's what we learned yesterday, or the 2 days before, and we had the idea that the nefesh is what goes around your body. That is the nefesh bahamis. That gives chiyas and chay. So you see, it's a big part. As we mentioned just now, we can't just ignore it. The chein koa taivas it's a forest v'kas domein hein belev, because the animal soul resides in the heart. Therefore, all the lusts and boasting and anger and similar passions are in the heart. Unbelievable thing. Malev Hainam is pashtas b'kol haguf, and from they spread throughout the entire body. Yeah, I got this pain, like walking. It was weird. Like I haven't had it before. I remember I've had it, but not. And I just had to. I had like David Goggins in my head. I had all these things. I was like talking to my Nefesh Bahamis, like, get going. Yeah,
Get going. Yeah.
keep moving. Stop kvetching.
I felt that this morning also. I woke up.
I was just thinking of my son in the army in Adar, and I've got pictures of their feet and everything, so messed up.
Yeah.
And they're still going,
Yeah.
excited, energy.
Right. Yeah. I this morning, I don't know why I woke up and I felt like the Bala Tanya woke me up this morning.
Wow.
Like I woke up at 6:30. My alarm didn't go off. It wasn't even set.
Wow.
I forgot to set it last night. My phone, the charger. And I woke up. It was like 6:30. First, I woke up at 5 o'clock. I was nervous. I overslept. It was 5 a.m. Went back to sleep. 6:30 exactly, which is usually when I wake up. I was like, the Bala Tanya woke me up.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to sleep.
The Siddiqim wants our learning, because the other way around is look what the lave's doing. It's mispashet b'chol haguf. It's spreading us nefesh bahamis throughout the whole body. It starts sending you up all these thoughts. So there's ache, there's pain, sleep, the chashav here or behin, the chafchem behem. It starts being cunning. How you can avoid learning Torah, because it knows once you start learning Torah, you get more spiritual.
Yeah.
And then you're less into the goof. You're less into the pizza, into the hot dogs, or whatever it is that people are into. Yeah, you become a more spiritualized person. So it doesn't necessarily want you to do that. So it's an inner battle. It's an inner struggle. This is what we're learning today. Just the blood has its source in the heart. This is important to realize, that not only does it circulate into every organ, but it rises also into the head. So it influences how we think. And that's why it's really important to always try to get out of your nagirs. You have nagirs. You can't say that you're objective, because you have a force within you that's constantly trying to vie for your focus and attention. This nefesh bahamis, and it's all about ego and lusts, and it's going to need attention, and you have to deal with it. You have to face it. You have to learn how to be real with it, but you can't become subservient to it. That's the problem. You can't start allowing its tricks. By putting its blood up in your mind, you can't allow it to dominate how you think. That's the real place of challenge. We need to keep the mayach sholet al alev. The brain this is a big klan Chabad. The mind needs to rule on this. This is where we're going to learn. The body of the divine soul is in the brain, in the head. So it's the other way around. This way now we have the divine soul, this neshama that's in the brain, that's extending to all the limbs. The divine soul also resides in the right ventricle of the heart. I don't know ventricle what that means, but apparently ventricle, it means like the right side of the heart. So when I think of my son, like I asked him, how did you keep going with your feet so this and that, and lack of shower and lack of food or whatever it was, and all this different challenges. He said it's all about mind over, mindset. So my son said to me, constantly working. If you like the heavy weight, I was looking at some of the videos last night, and you see the amount of gear he's got on himself, and he's walking around this smashed up town, and it's like it's not stum. You hear, because I'm watching the videos last night, footage,
Right.
And you're seeing them going through these broken buildings and broken alleyways and broken back alleyways, and you never know what could jump out also. I mean, I'm sure they've checked everything out, but there was even a moment where he was with one of the terrorists, and he's just going and going, and it's heavy gun equipment, bullets, bag, constantly moving through the city. And you're thinking like the only thing that's moving them is their mind is ruling over their body right now.
Wow.
And it's like the army, whoever's the head of the army is ruling over them.
And they sleep in these like abandoned buildings.
Yeah, we watched as part of the video. Not only do they search for all the Hamas stuff and they go through everything looking for UNRWA or whatever other stuff that's connected to the war, they have to then organize wherever they go to for that day to then turn it into a place they could use as a camp. So they have to organize the chairs, the beds, so they can then rest a little bit. And that's also part of the avoda and setting up the food situation. One place we went to must have been like a storage because there was quite a lot of food there. And there was a whole bunch of guys sitting around, army soldiers sitting around. And it's pretty intense watching the footage. I mean, we only got through some of it. I started getting really tired. I think I just emotionally just watching my son in such a
How do you
crazy
get
situation.
he can upload it to the cloud or something?
He had a camera and we just downloaded it onto my computer.
You watched the ones that he had from last time.
Yeah, last time.
Oh,
The new one, where he's at right now, he said he's got the GoPros, is really helpful, but it's not as much action in terms of interaction with Hamas. Like there's less presence of them. You never know, but right now, it's a different time right now. Apparently there is war going on in different parts of Gaza though, because Rav Shon was talking about it yesterday. When he was nearby, he could hear a lot of action going on. They had to move them out. The heart of the wise man, the divine soul, is on his right. So we have to realize this is based on the pasuk, Kehelis. We have the concept that your right side of your heart is where the YITZCHAK, basically, where the neshama. He doesn't call it YITZCHAK, he calls it nefesh elikus. And the left side of the heart is, we would say, Yetzirah, he calls it Nefesh Bahamas. But the important part is that the mind is where the most of the revelation of the Nefesh Elikus is, and that's able to be sholet through the right side of the heart on the rest of the body. That's the anatomy. It's important to get that clear. I'm just interested to see if any of the old Lashon has anything. Sometimes it talks, it uses the same kind of words. Nothing new. Okay, the same language. Okay, let's go. Anything over there interesting? Any up-to-date language?
The animal soul functions as an emotional space.
Yeah.
Its intellect is used largely to rationalize its desires.
Yeah.
Plan how to obtain them. This is why the animal soul has just one focal resting place in the body, the heart center.
There we go. This is what we just learned.
Yeah.
Just said it in a nicer way. Okay. So the heart is singled out as being the place.
Right.
And I remember Abba Mordechai Isbi, Rav Simai's uncle, once said, he said the heart is the main place of Avodah. That's why it's called Avodah Shebelev. It's the main place Hashem wants. Rachman Aliba Boy. That's where all the Avodah is. He says it's a very complex place, and it takes a lot of tefillah, a lot of Avodah. That's the Tehillim and the learning and the Avodah Samidus. It's really the place where all the hard work goes on, is on the heart level. Right. But it has to be a strong mind to guide it. That's the point. That's what we're getting here. V'yavas Hashem karish beishal heves. This revelation in the heart, divine soul residing in the brain, is man's fiery love towards God. Mislayev belev hasiklim, which flares up in the heart of discerning men who utilize the power of Chokhmah. Mevinim and Hisbonanus, who understand and reflect with their faculty of Bina, b'das asher b'moicham, with the knowledge of their brain, with the faculty of das, by which they immerse themselves and sense themselves in which they understand. The flood flares up in the heart to utilize all these faculties of Chokhmah, Bina, das. Okay, so Chokhmah, Bina, das. That's Bina is connected a lot to do with the heart as well. It's misbonanim. That's why it's a big klal in Chabad to misbonain, to do Hisbonanus, to think about the greatness of Hashem, to awaken this intellectual fiery love, which is connected more to do with Chokhmah. And
Interesting. I'm just like chazering a little bit. My brain.
With das Hashem b'choy moicham. Yeah, we have to awaken these chacham being das in our own minds.
Yeah.
Literally. Which they understand the love flares up in the heart, so they use all different hands of being a chacham, being a das. So he had actually quite a nice lashon yesterday. I might go run and get it from the base midrash. We have a tablet. I'm just going to go quickly get the tablet. Ginsburg. The YITZCHAK Berkovitz, YITZCHAK Ginsburg. And it says, Kesa is a Muna Tanug Rotzen. That's like he says, Kokus al Moida. YITZCHAK Ginsburg is obviously a Chabadnik, so you get this is all in the same Masorah as the Tanya. So that's, he says, is a supernal conscience. It's a higher level. It's above Chacham Bin Adas, Kesa, Amuna Tanug Rotzen. Then he goes to Chones Siklit. Chachma Bin Adas, Chachma is Bittul, Bina is Simcha, and Das is Yichud. Very nice. That's very nice. I didn't, but for some reason I wouldn't have thought of Das as Yichud. Bina is Simcha I've heard about. Chachma is Bittul. We learnt about Chachma. We had Kachma. But Das is Yichud. What does he say here? Das MASHA b'moicham. The knowledge of their brain. They immerse themselves and sense themselves in what they wish to understand, and that love flares up. It's like the bridge between the moyach and the leiv, between the seichel and emotions, the midas, haleiv. Okay, so that's a good table as well. That helps us. Okay.
1 second. Here.
And these are matters that arouse this love. This contemplation of Hashem's greatness. Remember, this is a big Chabad Nakuda of focusing on Hashem's greatness, which is actually one of the commandments of Hashem, because Anochi Hashem Elokecha, the Chofetz Chaim says there's 6 midas to midas. When you go to Eish Torah, it's a big thing over there. You can ask, they have it on the wall sometimes. I used to when I went. Maybe it was when I was there if Noach Weinberg was still around. But over there, he had a big emphasis on the 6 mitzvahs Tamidis. It's based on the Sefer Chinuch, and the Chofetz Chaim brings it in Bir Halacha and Mishnah Berurah, and the beginning of Shulchan Aruch. And he brings 6 mitzvahs Tamidis, and one of them is Avos Hashem. Now, the way that the Chabad Rebbe is talking about it, the Bavitcher Rebbe, the Tanya, he's saying you mo'ora through Hisbonanus, through contemplating the greatness of Hashem.
Right.
Where the Chofetz Chaim brings it from Sefer Chinuch is it's through Avos Torah. It's through learning Torah that brings you to love Hashem.
I mean, they're kind of one and the same, but that's kind of where sometimes you see the difference. Between the
focus on Gemara, Sugyas, Svaras. Then you come
kind of gets lost in translation.
The problem is this is where there's a machlokas on some level, in a good way, between the Chaim Volozhiner, who's one of the Talmidim of the Gra, and the Vilna, from the Vilna Gaon, and the Balatanya. The Balatanya wants you to have the Dveikus to Hashem all the time, yeah? Right. That's part of Yiddishkeit. You have to always be Davik to Hashem, Avos Hashem. That's what we're learning here. Whereas Chaim Volozhin says that will get in the way of your understanding the sugyas, so you have moments for it, but it can't be tamid.
Right.
But then, based on the Chofetz Chaim, when he brought the Sefer Chinuch, it's mitzvah tamidus, meaning you can always do it. So when you're not learning and it's not interfering with your learning, which is sort of interesting chiluk, then you can think. Say you're just walking down the street. I love you, Hashem. How great are you, Hashem? You can always be makayim this mitzvah of how the Avos Hashem, of loving Hashem.
It was interesting. We went the other day to Richard Meyer, and they both, Richard Meyer and Rabbi Gamliel both said the same thing, that your mamash always have to be thinking of Hashem.
Yeah, that's what we're learning.
Richard Meyer is very into thinking and having in mind the letters Yud Kei Vav Kei.
Wow.
That's his Shavisi Hashem. That's like his a huge Indian by him. It's always envisioning those words, even Shavisi Hashem, Yitzam.
You see when he's got those big Sidurim in front of him, and he's turning all the pages, there's all different kavanas of the Shavisi Hashem, the Shem Havaya.
He's very into having the Shem Havaya in his name, in his
and
mind.
Rav also.
Also,
I've heard him talk about it. When I used to go to Shirim Mesharim, because I lived right near there, and he used to talk about that. That was the main nakuda. He used to remind everyone to constantly connect to Hashem, Tamidus. It's something which we all need to mechazik and work on. So this is the kind of Ahavas Hashem that we're waking up. Came Simchas Alev to Feres Hashem Bahad Goina. Yeah, what do you want to say?
Oh yeah, I just want to read this. So here, this is the basic meditation practice which the Tanya has described in chapter 3.
Yes, we did mention it.
May include how godly light and energy is found within all physical objects, even though you can't see it.
Right.
How far your life is from God, how close you would like to be, how the angels worship God with utter dedication and love, how in its source the world is absorbed in God. That's a deep one. How God renews the creation with a fresh energy each morning.
Nice.
How wonders in the world which God created.
There's an interesting point underneath here in the old edition. It says in the divine soul, the relationship between mind and heart is reversed from that of the animal soul.
Right, that's what it kind of says here.
That's a good point. I think we have to realize that's why they're like sort of working in opposite directions.
Right.
And therefore you have to make some yichud. That's the das.
Right.
You make some unification between your nefesh elikus and nefesh bahamis. It can't be like, even though there's a war on a certain level, and there is a war, but they have to learn how to function together, because you can't ignore the reality of the nefesh bahamis. It has to be subservient on a certain level.
Right.
I mean, if you look at right now the situation in Israel, like we have to do that on some level. There has to be that, in our land, there's no one who wants to kill us.
Right.
The forces out there can't be trying to kill us in our own land. We're secure. And if God is included in that, in terms of the fact that it so sticks into the middle of Israel, and they're able to throw missiles from there, then we have to do the same there also. That's what this whole situation's been.
Well, that's like a big Indian that I think, like I was talking to my friends in New York here, that they really, it's such an interesting thing, because I mean, I myself didn't really fully believe that.
Yeah.
It's like the idea that like you have to wipe out evil, and that is Avodas Hashem too.
Yeah.
Like Avodas Hashem is saying, like a Kiddush Hashem is saying, we're not going to allow you to shoot missiles at us. Yes, it sounds like we're being, the world is going to say we're barbaric, and the world's going to say we're evil, and we're...
Yeah, but their moral system's corrupt anyway.
But like...
They were funding half this terror organization, maybe more of it. They I don't know if the whole world into how much input they put in, but the UNRWA and the UN and all this stuff, they allowed them, enabled them with constant, material. Even Israel on some level, we gave them access to electricity and
what do you mean,
water. And
the guys told me they went down south yesterday or 2 days ago, and they went to one of the towns. I think it was like maybe Nachal Oz or one of the ones over there. And one of the people who were giving them a tour around the place, who was a resident, she spoke English, so she was like kind of walking them around. She's like, I guess they asked, because she was like, yeah, I was one of the people who would pick up the people at the border in Gaza and bring them to the hospitals. And so they're like, and what do you feel now? And she's like, I'd still do the same. And they're like, they're like, what do you mean? Like, these people came in and they killed and butchered and raped you. Your people, like, why would you do that? And her response was like, we know that they're bad, but we're not going to be as bad as them. And it was like such a krumkeit of the truth. Like, that's just like associating with your captors. That's like called Stockholm syndrome. But it's a similar idea. It's like you're trying to. I think it's a krumkeit that you're trying to get approval from the world.
Right.
So you're trying to, and so like, and so now how do we bring that into Tanya? Is that, like, that's something that, like, right? We're saying that the nefesh bahamis and the nefesh elikus. So the nefesh bahamis, that works from the heart and goes out to the brain, right? Which is a little bit of a chiddush, right? You think, your heart is what's your love for Hashem, and it's like, no. The nefesh elikus works on your brain, meaning you have to first, like, think a little bit. You have to use your das. You have to use your bina. You have to realize that, like, no, this is not reality. Like, my heart might tell me to pick up these Gazan animals from the gates and bring them to the hospitals, but my brain Nefesh Elikus is saying like, no, this is not the right thing. Like, this is not logical. Like a
You don't have Rachmanis on those who have bli das. They don't have das. They're not. Their das has been broken through whatever. Through we can't explain evil, but it's very sad.
Right.
But at the same time, we have to do the Ratzon Hashem.
The Ratzon Hashem. That's a very hard thing to do.
Yeah, that's where the soldiers are like have to really, once again, the mind has to rule over their emotions, because a lot of them are brought up with a different education, more like left-wing thinking.
Yeah.
And yet, when it comes down to it, they are learning to think like a yid. And they have to, because they have to. It's the only way to win this war.
It's interesting. Left-wing thinking, when you think about it, is just like it's a nefesh bahamas type of thinking.
Maybe, yeah.
It's a thinking that starts in the heart.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about it yesterday in the shir. We brought up Ben Shapiro in Rav Shlomo shir. And he's the whole thing about facts don't care about your feelings, because it's a reaction back to the over focus on the heart of emotions.
Right, exactly.
Or like you're saying, the nefesh bahamas, where it's only doing what you feel, not what you should be doing.
Right.
And,
you see
and facts are facts. Facts is logic. Facts is rational. Facts is truth. Right. And those facts need to be listened to. That's the nefesh elokis, which is dealing with the realm of emes. And they're trying to influence this world of sheker.
Right.
And if you can't totally block off the elikus, the neshama, the soul, that's why it's such a soulless movement, the woke movement.
Yeah.
It's anti-soulism, that's what I call it.
Huh.
Everyone's talking about anti-Semitism. I think the real challenge is anti-soulism.
Right.
Because you can have a guy who's not anti-Semitic, seemingly, in it because he likes Jews or whatever, emotionally. Right now he likes them, but he's not soulful. Right. And then what happens when the trend changes and it's no longer cool to like Jews? So then he hates Jews because he'll do whatever his emotions say.
Right.
But if he's listening to his soul, so then he'll say, no, these are people of the soul. I'm not going to hate these people ever.
Right. Which is why, like, I think Reb Shlomo said, like, he's like,
this is last night.
This is different. I've heard him say it before. It's like people talk about like, oh, this celebrity is pro-Israel, and it's like, it's like it's very nice. It's appreciative that like these celebrities or whoever they are like very into Israel. The Jewish ones, a lot of them. It's not necessarily either their nefesh elikus is on fire, right?
Which is great.
Which is great, but some of it is like okay, it's Baruch Hashem, but like. Should have become like this is our chanting slogan where it's like look we have we have Bono from U2 saying I pray for the hostages like
that shouldn't be our focus.
That shouldn't be our banner. Our banner should just be like staying with what we have,
the truth, the emes, the
also
Torah,
another thing
Torah emes.
This is what Shlomo said last night. I don't remember who he said it. Maybe he said it was Shlomo Chabad, but I don't know. He was saying that when we say it's Posei Chasadecha Maspil Chol Chai
Ratzon,
it's that Hashem gives everyone Ratzon. Like that's
we have to tune in.
That's what it is.
He's trying to awaken that Nakuda. He spoke about it in the shir as well. The idea of Ratzon, that he wants Yidden to want Eretz Yisrael.
Right.
When they give up in Eretz Yisrael, that's when it's the problem. Gedalia Fentz was talking about it yesterday also. It's a Chassidish concept of, I texted him and he liked it, it's not yet. Because he says, he's coming to Eretz Yisrael. I wrote, but not yet. Meaning you are, eventually. You want to always come to Eretz Yisrael. You're just not yet there. So it's like, these guys last night, like they're not yet living in Eretz Yisrael.
Right.
You are. And you shouldn't take it for granted. And you should also, I wanted to say this before, shouldn't take for granted that you have a crew of people that will come and spend time with you like this. I haven't had one family member, one friend come to Israel. So the whole thing. And the only family member who did come was staying in a place that took 2.5 hours to get to, and by bus and everything. And I wasn't able to get any transportation that day. So, you don't take for granted that you have some people who will come out their way for you and do this amazing experience,
Yeah, they told me last night
this is the
highlight of their trip.
Yeah, amazing.
Last time with Reb Shlomo.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem. And I don't have that. Like, I'm just saying, like, I wish my family and friends would come on a plane to Israel. The one who had a whole holiday planned here cancelled it as soon as the war started. And there hasn't been any talk of rescheduling. My parents have made no intention or plan of coming to visit. My brothers, nobody. Like, it's very sad. Like, I don't know what to say. I'm a bit broken about like that side of things. I mean, they are supportive from afar, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's just thank Hashem you have a crew of people that will come out. Your own mother, I saw she was here, and people care about you and they'll come, and they're not interested in a war, no war, how much the LR are charging. They're just coming. Yeah.
Right.
And that's the right mindset. And that wanting is expressed in action.
Yeah.
To a much higher level than someone who just says he wants to live in Israel but doesn't do anything about it. So just to read the last two lines. Kain simcha levav tefares Hashem v'hada goino. Another deeper way in which the heart's emotion gives expression to the presence of the divine soul. Remember, this is the divine soul we're talking about.
Also.
In the brain, the gladness of the heart, the happiness, apprehending the beauty of God and the majesty of His glory. I just want to say something that's really important. We say v'samcheinu b'nyana. We say every day when we do ala michya, ala gefim, ala eitz, birkas ma'in sholosh, hazanes samcheinu b'nyana. You see the simcha of understanding. It means the simcha, I think, of building or something in the actual words. But in the Pneumius is little shembina, the simcha of b'nyana, of understanding, of being able to connect things and make sense. The understanding of being able to masig Hashem, the beauty of Hashem, having that relationship with Hashem brings real simcha, the majesty of His glory. And it says kasher enei chochem asher barosho, the gladness aroused when the divine soul, which the Alter Rebbe is borrowing a phrase from, the wise man's eyes are in his head, b'moicho chomasa v'noso, meaning in the brain harboring his wisdom and understanding. Do you understand? The eyes are there. Right. What does it mean in his head, barosho? It means in ruchnius things. They're not. He's contemplating chachma being a das. He's contemplating the greatness of Hashem. He's not contemplating the greatness of Google and Facebook or whatever, or the new, Apple visual. What's it called? I don't even know. I've forgotten the name. Yeah, whatever it's called.
Goggles.
Those goggles. Yeah, and he's like posting how amazing the next stage of technology is, and you see these like electronic eyes.
I saw this video of someone in
virtual
shul.
Eyes.
Did you see that?
Someone was in where?
There was someone in shul. It looked like it was by the Rebbe's ohel.
Oh wow!
Not the actual ohel, but like the
outside area.
The base medrash. Davening shachris with his tefillin on, and he was wearing the goggles.
Really?
Yeah. And
that's a funny picture.
Someone said that it was probably like a sitter app.
Oh wow!
It sounds amazing. Like imagine davening, you don't have to hold the sitter, so your hands are awkwardly like this. Yeah. They're like in your face. The words.
Yeah, you could open it up to the base of Mikdash.
They're like, you could just open.
No, you could have in front of you the base of Mikdash.
Yeah,
you could have the Kohen Gadol, Shvisi Hashem Negdi Tamid, like burning those letters, burning in front of you.
Have a screensaver in your minds. Yeah.
No, I'm saying you can have the most awesome visual thing.
That's kind of what we imagine what like the tzaddikim.
That's how they worked hard to get to. Yeah. Now you can just stick on some goggles. And you worked hard to pay for them because they're like $4,500 or something.
$4,500.
The expensive ones, yeah. I mean, there's different levels, but yeah.
I don't know anything about this, but I just saw the picture.
$4,500. It's also funny. Rich, one of these reviewer guys bought them. The box itself looks ridiculous. Just the casing that it comes in. And all the different parts, it's high quality stuff. But the point is that we have to have these einai hachim in our rosha. It doesn't say in the goggles; it says in our heads. This is where we have to stop. What's the word? Outsourcing everything. Outsourcing our thoughts to our phones. Outsourcing our genius, the Yiddish kop, to all these technological developments. We mustn't outsource. We have to keep developing our minds because we don't want to become dumb. The phones will make us dumb and the phones will be smart. We don't want it to be that way.
Yeah, mama.
B'mistaches b'ikra b'malcha b'teferes gadlosa adein chayka ein sof v'tachlis k'mavoa b'mochem acher. With these eyes, the intellect gaze intensely at the glory of the King and the beauty of His unfathomable, infinite, and boundless greatness. Then the heart rejoices and is glad, as explained elsewhere. So, we have to arouse great joy in our hearts. There is a manifestation on the internet, divine soul residing in the brain. Kain ashar midas kadosh b'leiv hein b'chabad sheb'mochin. Similarly, the other emotions in the heart too, such as fear of God and the light, originate from Chabad, understanding, knowledge in the brain.
I was trying to like chazar this for a second.
Yeah, we do. That's why I'm thinking about it.
It's a heavy duty stuff.
The concept of the Chochmah bin Adas. Do you understand? There's like istachlim. What does it mean, istachlim? Intense intellectual gazing at things, the glory of the King, the beauty of His unfathomable, infinite, boundless greatness. Yeah, this is like using your mayach fully engaging. They say we only use a small percentage of our brain. I don't think about Tanya I don't think that was his case. I reckon the scientists never came to check out how much use he was using of his brain. But I think the Tzaddikim, they find a way to maximize everything. So they maximize the use of brain as well. Right. Because it's the most awesome technology ever. The brain, the human brain. The science has not figured it out yet. At all. They're still completely in the dark of majority of the brain, what's going on there. In how the mind works. That's why psychology and all this stuff is like just touching on the most external aspects of the wisdom of the human being and how deep it is and how it functions on the superconscious. So here it's just like there's no understanding.
We're using our
almost no.
Chachma Ubina.
Yeah.
To mestalklim bikara de malka v'seferes gedulasa.
Yeah. But remember, this is intense gazing. The glory of the King, to Fares His glory,
of the King,
and the beauty of His unfathomable, infinite, boundless greatness.
And the beauty of His greatness.
Can you relate to that? Like the idea that Hashem does these awesome miracles, created this amazing worlds, like all this technology, we think, wow, look at this.
Yeah.
That's just a tipa. Like it's nothing compared to what Hashem does.
I don't know what this experience is. I can imagine to stare at it, but again, a long time ago, I did ayahuasca. It wasn't a from thing.
Yeah.
And I remember, this is like years ago, and it was actually, I'm not pro or against it, but I think that it's become like very like stupid.
Yeah, it becomes superficial, but
it's very superficial.
To keep it in that deep way.
In that deep way, I remember I experienced real life, because I still feel it today, like the Ar Ein Sof.
Yeah.
I remember just like sitting there, and I remember like I was crying.
Wow.
I was sitting and I was like, but not crying. It was like crying, like happy,
ecstatic,
like ecstatic tears.
That's
like I was just like,
I've had that as well.
I was just like,
when I used to do like crazy like purple haze and stuff like that.
And I felt was like I felt the Ar Ein Sof. It was like this.
I don't know what they put in it, but it was tripping me out, and I was like in this ecstatic state of pleasure.
Right. It was like.
The point is, what you start to experience is the light of the Ein Sof. Yeah, obviously it's a very filtered, impure version of it, because it's not, you didn't generate it through Hisbonanus.
Right.
But just picture the Tzaddikim. They are at this place where they do it through their Maya.
Right. And
they start to experience the greatness of Hashem by using their kochis without any outside influence. They don't even need l'chaims, nothing.
Right.
Just pure, intense thought.
Right.
This is something to think about.
This
shows you the greatness of Chabad.
Yeah.
That if someone's a true Chabadnik who really has reached these levels, then when you meet the guy, he's just in love with Hashem, and then it's just overflowing this Avos Hashem into you. That's the kind of Baruch Hashem. That's the kind of like Yid that you want to encounter. This overflowing Avos Hashem, Chachma bin Das. You're just pouring thoughts, and then, so that's how my experience when I met real Chabadniks, not these like young guys who still haven't ever experienced this and they're just enjoying the lifestyle, being Chabad shliach or whatever. I'm talking about like where they're not in that more external like social media success kind of focus. They're actually real Chabadniks, where they're actually a davik to the tzaddikim of the Chabad, and they understand his Torahs. And those guys, when I first came into YITZCHAK, those were the guys that lit me up. Those Chabadniks, the real Chabadniks, the one who's holding in Chabad. And because they're so alive with Torah's Chabad, and they're so alive with this Hisbonanus.
Chabad, I find, is very unique in that they're very, you don't really see this anywhere else in such an alive way. That they're mamish, like, you can see they're like walking They were like walking Tanyas.
Yeah.
You can see them. You
Or
learn like a
Shai's
little bit
Tao.
of Tanya.
You definitely see it by him. Rav
Yeah.
Y.Y. Jacobson,
Yeah.
he doesn't show it externally, but he has it when you
They
get
all have
to
it
know
in them.
him.
It's like their
Or you listen to his Torah.
foundation of like a.
He
like,
hides it more with Y.Y. and
but
other,
you
in other
can
stuff.
see if you learn Tanya, you can see
Yeah.
that YY, and for me it's like a Simon Jacobson. I love
Yeah,
him.
also huge.
These guys are like just
people.
walking Tanyas.
And I remember my Chabad Shlichim with Levi Sudak. He doesn't even
Right.
allow me to call me Rav. I have to call him Levi every time I see him.
Yeah.
Like go back and forth. Rabbi, Levi.
Who this is the one from
From
England.
London. And his father was Nachum Sudak, who was the first shliach, Nachman Sudak, the first shliach that the Rebbe sent out. The first shliach. And it was to London, it was to England. So his father, so he looks like his father. Anyways, he even just him making a coffee in the morning or a tea, they used to have like this English, everything with him, I always felt like I was having a spiritual moment with him. I talked to him about a gay friend of mine, it was a spiritual moment.
Wow.
Like, for real. Like, everything was spiritual with him. And I just, I meant the physical became spiritual. My son, the whole wars had his chitas with him.
Wow.
And people have learned and done from it. It's been a bit beaten up in the war. When he came home, I wiped it off because it had a lot of dust from Gaza to clean it up a little bit, cleaned his tefillin. I wiped off a lot of dirt from all this stuff. It's intense, but they were living in dirt, literally.
Yeah, it's like totally.
It's another world, but it's amazing that the chitas went with him the whole way, and he was so proud of it. He showed it to me, had it with him, and
That's amazing.
yeah. So the Chochmah Bin Adas has the power to penetrate, but we have to be misbonen. We have to use our intellect. We have to think deeply. When you see Rav Manasrim, when you see these people there, you see their minds are used, are working.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mayach. You see Rav Morgenstein he's a mayach.
Mm-hmm.
Certain people, my Rebbe as well, there's a mochin. They have mochin, they have brain. They're not just these like we're saying the opposite, the Havdo, Alef Million, Billionim Havdalas. These woke guys are all emotion, purple haired nonsense. Yeah?
Right.
Their brains stop working, they're just fully emotions. No facts, no truth. It's just emotions. And all for the Nefesh Bahamas, what they feel like.
They're monosphere. I never really like listened to any of his stuff or connected.
Yeah, he's a big person as well. He did a share with two other guys, Jeremy
And
and
I saw they posted
Harry,
about it.
and Rav Shlomo spoke about it in share yesterday, because some important points that connects to our share of Petuk Medina, and obviously Rav Manis is not as Eretz Yisrael Adar Sof, has a different view. V'chein Shah Midas Kedoshas Belev, but the way Rav Shlomo said it's mushlam. It's between the two of them talking, it came to a good. Because in the end, they all agree it needs to be Panemius. Similarly, the other holy emotions in the heart too, such as fear of God and like, originate from Chabad. So this is what you see. It originates from Chochmah Bin Adas. That's why you see the guf of Chassidus. If you would take Chassidus and divide it up into spheres, Elyonim, Chochmah Bin Adas, Chabad is the Rosh of Chassidus. That's why they used to call them the Rav Shulchan Aruch. They call it the Rav Shulchan Aruch. He was the Rav of Chassidus. Apparently, when the Maggid HaMezritch was buried, the Baal Tanya took the brain. He took the moyach from the Maggid. He took the Rosh. He was the one who was holding the Rosh at the Levaya.
Right.
Because that was what his job was, to bring Chabad to the world. And now Chochmah Bin Adas is this Madrega is the mochin of Mashiach. This is the Torahs of Mashiach. This is what's going to come. Mashiach comes, fully manifest, Mashiach comes. So people say, but what about Adar, when we don't have such strong mochin? What's going to be? Yeah, I mean, you're not a big giant Tam Chacham knows Gan Shas and able to show that on yourself. So that was the Maila, what the Rabbi Rebbe did, the seventh Rebbe.
Right.
What did he, as Malchus, what did he do? He got us to do action.
Right.
So our job mostly is now, when we're not such big mochin, keep doing what's in Hashem. Keep doing, and it will influence you, and it will tap you into this Chochmah Bin Adas through Maisim. Right. That was what he pushed Amisol to fill in on people. Take your friends around Eretz Yisrael. Do. Keep doing.
Right. Give
Ikehi Ma'aseh, tzedakah.
Light candles.
Make success in business so you can keep doing tzedakah. Like that is
right.
How, because otherwise we'll say, well, I don't have these levels of intense Chochmah Bin Adas. It's okay. because you're connected to the people who do. You're doing the Ratzon Hashem. You're connected to Tzaddikim. You're listening to the Rebbes. You're connected into the Mayach through them, the right Mayach, the pure Mayach, Chacham Bina Das, and through them they're guiding us towards doing the Ratzon Hashem in this world. So because we're an army in a sense. So we need the other parts of Chassidus as well. We need the Tiferes, which is the Guf, and we need the body part, the main part of the body, and then we need the lower parts, the Netzach Hod, Yesod, Malchus, more like Breath of Torah, and that we're all together. We're serving Hashem.
Right.
That's the body of Chassidus. That's the way Rav Moshe Wilson brings it down. And I think that we need all the different paths, and we can't be hard on ourselves when we don't feel like we've, like you said, you only got there when you did some outside tool. You see how difficult it is to completely generate your mind. You have to do some outside thing to get your mind actually to where it really should be, ideally. Right. Because the mind should be intensely focused on Chacham Bina Das. It should be on Amis Hashem. It should be on Hisbonanus, Galus Aboire, and
I should send you this video of Moshe Weinberg I was talking about. I'll send it to you.
He's also a Mayach on some level. He has a big Mayach when you look at him.
Yeah.
Like he's thinking.
Everything he's thinking about is always like sometimes he'll answer you or me or anyone. Yeah. He'll say things and you think it's just coming from, he's so deeply attached to connected to all the tzaddikim. Yeah. And all the Torah, and he just when he used to talk to me or tell me things, I would just, because he's so normal. You go to a tzaddik here in Eretz Yisrael, and you can just feel and see they're not in the same planet as you are. You go to Beit Shammai, you're oh, he's not even, in different spheres. He's
But the amazing thing is, we're YISRAEL, we're together.
But Moshe Weinberger is connected to all that, and yet he's still with you.
Yeah, he's the shliach. He's your shliach. Whereas Stern is a shliach for whoever connects to that. Yeah. But I connect to it on some level, but not legamre. Yeah.
It's very hard for me to connect to that. The tzaddikim that are
he's a
not on my planet.
He's a Kabbalist. He's on a.
But even I personally never felt connected to I went to Reb Chaim Kanievsky a couple of times. Yeah. It was just amazing just to see this tzaddik. Yeah. But I don't know if I'd ask him for advice. People used to ask him for advice, and he would say, "Okay, stop cutting your beard." And someone told me that Rabbi Meyer told someone if he wants parnasa, get rid of your iPhone. He said, and you'll have an endless amount of parnasa. He's like, how much? And this is the story he told me. This Gabbai said, he wrote down a piece of paper, I think $100 million. Get rid of your iPhone, that'll be yours. And the guy still hasn't done it yet, but I don't know. I don't connect to
these kind of things are more external. You got to do the work. This is what we're learning here. And then tomorrow's learning, please God, will be here. Hopefully you'll have koyach and moyach. And I really appreciate you making effort today, because I know it was extra effort. You really
the shefa shower. That's what I call it. We need a shefa shower.
But when we're going to go into the wrestling match that goes on between this Nefesh Elikus and Nefesh Bahamas, which we're probably experiencing anyway, so we're pretty. Yeah. But up until now, we're just laying down. We're setting up the war scene. Yeah. Yeah. The mayach and the right side of the heart versus the left side of the heart and the body. Mamish. We're setting it up right now. We're going to figure out who's going to be sholet on who. Hopefully, Chabad is running the show. It's a global takeover. That's what the Rav Manis Friedman says. He says we have to be the kind of Yiddishkeit where we're willing to say we're wanting to take over the world with Chabad, with Chochmah Bina Das. We're not scared to say that, and it's for the sake of everyone's good as well. Truly for everyone's good, because it's going to give soul back to humanity.